G'day legends, and welcome to another week of Crypto Catch Up with Boges, or Beer with Boges. Alright, so we're going to go through what we've done for the week in crypto in the most basic form I can, so that it's easy to understand for all new people to the industry. And if you've got a beer or a coffee, it's time to grab that and sit down, and we'll just go through it now. I've got my trusty clipboard full of, well, I won't actually show you what it's full of. It's very poor handwriting. That's what it's full of. All right, so this week was generally revolved around the macroeconomic data of the jobs reports. We just waited for it to happen, and when it happened, crypto took off because the job numbers were not great, which, bad news is good news for investing, because it means that your interest rates are more likely to be cut. But then it came back down again because the market takes a while to take things in, and they looked at the numbers a bit harder and decided, actually, these numbers are probably too bad, meaning that you can lean more towards the fear of recession. So that's sort of what this week was basically, hung around. So the jobs reports for August came in at 22,000. So this is all for America. Aussies, if you're wondering, or anywhere in the world, if you're wondering why we talk about America a lot, it's because they're the country that their financial system matters the most. They are the world's reserve currency, and they are also just the biggest economy in the world. The biggest economy in the world has the most money, so all eyes look at the USA. There are other ones, Japan and China, that matter, but USA is the one that, whenever bad news happens financially, for America, it happens for all of our investments. All right, so the jobs numbers came in at 22,000 new jobs were added, non-farm ones. It was expected to be 75,000, so quite a miss there. And unemployment was up to 4.3 from 4.2, so up 0.1, which was, I think, what was expected. So I've got written down why it matters. That's pretty much what I've just told you guys. Bad news in jobs forces rate cuts, but handled poorly, could cause recession. All right, we'll move on to just some headlines for the week. The US SEC plans major crypto policy overhaul. I read through this, and basically all you need to know is they're putting in more rules for clarity for crypto. Basically, they want to support innovation and safeguard investors. Next title was Trump-backed crypto venture surges, and then I wrote, and then dumped. The basics of this is, even if it's the Trumps, with any celebrity tokens, just be very careful. They don't have a great track record so far. We've got the Trump meme token that went up really big, really fast, and then fell nearly as fast. The Melania, his wife, that token didn't even take off, basically. As I like to make mistakes for you guys, for you to learn from, I make mistakes. That's what I'm about. I bought some of that one, and that's probably the biggest regret I've, as far as anything I've ever bought. That's one where I look back and went, not sure I should have done that. But, we learn from our mistakes, so that's perfectly fine. It was money that I was prepared to waste. I said that in a video when I did it. Scams are up. So scams in crypto are up because of us hitting the all-time high, 10, 12 days ago. This causes scams to come back in a big way. Whenever crypto heats up, we get a lot more scams. So there's been more phishing scams. There's been more fake NFT promos, AI deepfakes, cloned websites, investment frauds, and they're targeting people on X or Twitter. Telegram and TikTok are the main places, so watch out on places. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. That's a very wise thing to take in. If it looks too good, it probably is, even in crypto. All right, so looking forward, Rectember. So September is quite often called Rectember, and a lot of people say it's the worst month in crypto. That is actually factually incorrect. Now, it might be second worst, but it's not the worst. Actually, August is the worst month generally for crypto, for Bitcoin. So, but looking forwards, we've got a few things on this month, and these are ones that if you are buying or trading, that you keep an eye on. CPI and core inflation, CPI and core CPI for the US is those numbers are brought out on September the 11th US time, so it'll be the 12th here basically, at 8:30 a.m. They've got key inflation. It's a key inflation gauge. The weekly jobless claims are on the same time, and on the same day the Fed budget is released at 2 p.m. So basically that's going to be a big day. Yeah, so it's just going to be a big day, but basically we care about the CPI and core CPI, as that is our inflation gauge, which basically says to Jerome Powell and those guys over there whether they're going to be able to drop the interest rates. And here's an interesting one, which I've been listening to the last couple of years, and I had to look it up. I didn't know what it was when I heard a trader talk about it, and I went, you know what, actually, I'm going to look this up because it sounds important. Quad witching. I was like, what type of crazy moon scheme is this? No, it's actually 4 types of financial contracts that expire on the same day. It happens 4 times a year, so quad, and the 4 times a year, the 3rd Friday of that month, so March, June, September, and must be December. The 4 types of financial contracts all expire, creating very large volume and volatility on that day. That day is the 19th of September, I'm assuming US time. And of course, we can't go past the 17th of September US. The rate announcement will happen. So, you know, we find out on that day. We are at about a very high percentage now chance of a rate cut to 25%, I think is up in the high 80s last I looked. That is the end of those notes. So now we will go on with our computer analysis of things. Sorry, I had all right, looks like I've got the computer ready now. Okay, so first I'm just going to take you to Crypto Bubbles. Here we are. This is what our day looks like. Bitcoin down 1%, Ethereum down 0.1, and Ethereum 0.3. But we'll go and have a look at our week because that's what so Bitcoin is up 1.6 for the week. Our week has looked like this. So we've been down at 107,000, which is a low point. It may revisit that zone again. As I've said, we've got a pretty volatile probably next 2 weeks, and then I would expect maybe the very end of September to be our upshot is kind of where I'm starting to lean this week. Where did Ethereum go? I'll have to go back to here. I can't even see it. All right. Ethereum is down 3.3 for the week. Very volatile asset this week. Lots of ups and downs there. Our high point was 4,484. Low point is 4,262. So $220 swing basically. It's not that bad when you think about it like that. The big move this week is this meme called Meme, 220 up. Pump was up 39. Pump is one that I'm very not keen on. They don't really need that token for what they do, so I just kind of think it's a bit pointless, to be honest. WorldCoin is up. I would not touch that with the pointy stick. I do not like what they do. That is that whole scan your eye and hand over all your iData and whatever. I would not go near that. PIF is good value probably there, down 12% pretty much, with the good news that it was partnering with the US government in basically doing what it does, being an oracle. It went up a lot last week and it's come back a bit, so it might be a good point for a pickup there. We'll have a quick look in the next one, which is about as far as I go. Yeah, just lots of red. Just lots of red. Yeah, about 20% of it's green. Most of it's down a little bit. All right, we'll move on. We will go to the Fear and Greed Index. Fear and Greed is in neutral at 40. So as you can see, the colours just here. We are right there. The further down this way we go, the more we expect to get some good buying prices. As you can see, when it's red here, this is when it ends up down in these points here. And as you can see, whenever it hits that point, it generally heads back up, even if it's head back down, but then it comes all the way back up here, and which means your price, if you correlate that over the top of a crypto chart, you'll find it doesn't matter what most charts are, you will find that it increased in value. Okay, we'll move to the RSI. I preloaded all these about 10 minutes ago, so they might be about 10 minutes old, but that's okay. We are at 48, so under 50%, but basically right in the middle. It looks like it's ticking down slightly, but we don't have any real idea of which way it's going to go right now. Looks like it just broke out of a downtrend and then headed back down again. All right, so that is all right. Bitcoin dominance, basically where it was last week. Yeah, we're not moving around a whole lot. 58.56. I know it was in the 58.4, I think, last week off the top of my head. We want that to drop down about 1% more, basically 1.5%. And we can check this week how, we'll do Ethereum. This is Google Trends. We are looking to see whether people have been looking at Ethereum in Google worldwide for the past 12 months. So a couple of weeks ago when we were hitting our all-time highs for Bitcoin and Ethereum was taken off, we're up here. We're now literally, out of 100, it's 17 for the searching. So it's basically not being searched for. We will change to Bitcoin. Not quite as sad, it's at 24, but it also didn't go as high, so, as they say, the way you go up, the way you come down. And we'll try crypto in general. It will probably look like the Ethereum chart. Oh, I spelled crypto wrong. Yeah, helps if you spell it right. Not that it will probably... Oh, no, it did matter. All right, so, yeah, very similar to the actual Ethereum chart. But we bottomed out at 26. We're up to 30. So this crypto is actually starting to increase at this point from last week. And its high was as high as Ethereum and the low is about the same as Bitcoin. So it's interesting that that's slightly different. All right, so that is all that I generally show you guys. Hopefully this video hasn't been too long. Hopefully it's been helpful to look back at crypto for the week. If you've got to this point, like and subscribe. That'd be great. It helps the algorithm, tells it that you like my videos and like listening to me and all that stuff, and helps spread it out. have a great day. Do something nice for someone else. I will put the next one out roughly a week from now. There will be a video in between. I will release it for Wednesday morning Australian time. That is how I would spend if I was to make a brand new $1,000 portfolio. I've made the video and it will be released on Wednesday morning 9 a.m. Australian time, which will come out in the evening over in America and the rest of the world. So hope you guys enjoy that. Look forward to it, and I will see you guys on the next one.